Hello YouTube! I am here to discuss Milo Murphy's Law. It is in the world of Phineas and Ferb, and I would refer to it as Phineas and Ferb Light because it wanted to be what Phineas and Ferb was, but it never quite got there. That's not to say there isn't some unique stuff to enjoy in Milo Murphy's Law. They got 2 seasons out of it, so I just finished my Phineas and Ferb rewatch, and I was like, you know what, sure. I'll watch some Milo Murphy's Law. I still didn't quite have my fix of the Phineas and Ferb world. So I hopped right into it, and I watched it pretty quickly. I mean, it's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now, it doesn't take place in the summer. Characters are a little older, but it's the same vibe. It's Danville, please. So Milo Murphy's Law stars Milo Murphy, and Milo Murphy's Law itself as a concept, the law, it is anything bad that can happen will happen. Anything bad that can go wrong will go wrong. For somebody who has everything going wrong constantly, Milo Murphy still remains very positive throughout the entire show. It's very charming, and he's always prepared for any situations. I thought he made for a good main character. Nothing to write home about, but he himself never bothered me. We are introduced to his best friend from childhood, Melissa, and she is voiced by Sabrina Carpenter. Well, I enjoyed Melissa as a character. She's just like the chill girl who's used to putting up with all of the everything that comes with being the friend of Milo. I don't like the voice acting from Sabrina Carpenter. It's very clear that she just got cast in this show because she was the big name on Disney Channel at the time. She was on Girl Meets World, which I did watch part of that show, and I didn't make it all the way because I don't think Sabrina Carpenter was the best actress on there either, quite frankly. But voice acting, it is not her speed. You're no Ashley Tisdale, sorry. I liked all the voice performances on this show besides hers. She just stuck out like a sore thumb. I guess she is supposed to play the chill girl, but I don't think she brought any character to Melissa. She didn't do anything to elevate this character. It just didn't work for me, and that was unfortunate because I do like a lot of how Melissa was written. Just that voice acting performance, it wasn't good. And this show has songs like Phineas and Ferb. We never got Melissa singing. Why cast Sabrina Carpenter if she's not even gonna sing? I know she was doing music all the way back then too. A total missed opportunity with Melissa as a character. We could have done so much more here. In the first episode, they get a third friend in their mix, and it's like the big three of the show. Zach, he is very cool. He has the only good song in the show, the Chop Chop, whatever, I don't remember the name. He is a former boy band member, and they found that out, and that song was about that. And it was very funny. The song is very catchy. I will say now that Milo Murphy's Law, one of my biggest issues with it was the songs. I was excited for going in because you hear this opening song and it's so catchy. It's my world, I'm all living in it, boom. And then we do have that Chop Chop and Dear Heart, whatever. I don't know the name. I'm not looking at the name of that song, sorry. And that song was so good too, but the rest of the songs in the show are terrible. Some of them are actively distracting how terrible they are. Some of them are just so generic and like no heart was put into them. Now with Phineas and Ferb, most of the songs, I adored them, or I didn't notice them. That there were never really any songs that stuck out to me as being awful. I feel like they put their all into every song, every episode. Milo Murphy's Law, it felt like they were phoning it in on a lot of the songs. And I remember it was at its worst in the what happens to be the series finale. The show got canceled. They do a big song during the big fight scene, and it was distractingly bad. It was like the worst song in the show. I can't believe this is the same team that was doing Phineas and Ferb songs. Like, let's get it together, people. Ugh. But of the main three characters, Zach probably stuck out to me the most, and I found his episodes to be the most enjoyable because he was the new person to the group. He was kind of who the audience would lean on, being like, okay, you're the normal guy amongst this chaos. So it worked for me. I quite enjoyed Zach. Milo has a dog named DOG, a very funny name, but the running gag with DOG was DOG would just show up anywhere. DOG, go home. That's our catchphrase here. And it was very fun. I thought DOG worked quite well, a very entertaining character, and whenever we got like DOG focused episodes, they were very funny. DOG didn't speak or anything, so it was kind of like, okay, this is our new Perry the Platypus. Not as exciting as Perry the Platypus. It doesn't have the brains of Perry the Platypus, but fine. Now, DOG did fill in for Perry the Platypus in one episode, and that was like the best episode of the show. Oh my gosh. Yeah, DOG MVP. Amazing character. Another MVP for the show was Milo's sister, Sarah. And she was like the nerdy girl. She got us into the clock show with the clock guy and the ape man. I don't know. The show's a little forgettable for me, honestly. Sorry. But Sarah is just so positive, so enthusiastic. She's the older sister, so she's also got a little chill to her. I just thought she was so amazing. I always wanted more of her. I liked how she got to be included in the plot more the first season because she knew all the lore from that show. And I wish she was a bit more involved in the second season. I wish we could have just like made Sarah main character status because she was a delight in every episode she was in. I particularly enjoyed her little rivalry between Doofenshmirtz in the second season. We could have done more with that. They did have an episode around that, which was fantastic, but oh my gosh, these two characters going at it, like, that's iconic. So the first season, the plot line was about pistachios and we got a bunch of teases for pistachios, and then it's finally revealed that we're going to be fighting pistachio monsters, and it was just so absurd, so creative. It was a fantastic storyline. In the special episodes that we got, like, they did an hour-long one, and then, like, the finale, they did another one in between, I think. Those highlight of the entire show. So amazing, focusing on this pistachio storyline. If this show exists for no other reason, I'm glad I got to see this play out because I love me some pistachios. I was getting my life eating them every day. Like, oh, I'm taking down the villains. Just so creative. Such a creative storyline. And I was very impressed by how they set it up and teased it throughout the show and everything. Applause. So good. Now, the pistachios were in the fold through Cavendish and Dakota. They had like this side plot of them being random time travelers, so we didn't know their deal. And I did not like them at first at all. I finally warmed up to them after the first special episode. I think the hour-long one is when I started to finally be like, okay, these characters are fine. But before that, I was like, oh my gosh, awful characters. I just wanted to go back to Milo and his friends. Now, by the end of the show, I really did start to appreciate Cavendish more. Dakota, he had his moments, but I found him very annoying. He's supposed to annoy Cavendish, and that's like their dynamic, but I think a lot of the times Dakota jumped between annoying the audience and only annoying Cavendish. So you don't want to have the annoying character also annoy your audience, and I felt very annoyed by him a lot of the time. They were clearly the replacement for Doofenshmirtz, this B-plot. They were replacing Doofenshmirtz and Perry. That was what it was supposed to be. They're not that. They'll never be as good as that. I guess it kind of filled the void a little more in the second season, but I don't think they're a highlight of the show particularly. They have good moments. That's it. I can't give them too much, honestly. Now, I did say it's Phineas and Ferb Light. The show tried to stand on its own in the first season, but at the end of the first season, we get this plot twist reveal that Mr. Time, the inventor of time travel, is actually Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Season 2 opens with a whole crossover event with Phineas and Ferb, which of course it was good. It's Phineas and Ferb. But Dr. Doofenshmirtz sticks around for season 2. If the show wanted to stand on its own, don't introduce Dr. Doofenshmirtz. I don't really think it had a chance of standing on its own without some assist from Dr. Doofenshmirtz, because I was not even going to watch it until I kept hearing about how Dr. Doofenshmirtz was in it. So I think Dr. Doofenshmirtz definitely breathed some new life into the show, and I enjoyed his presence throughout. We got to see him become a good guy. He moves in with Milo. He kind of annoys them for a while. We get to see him and Perry kind of have a falling out where Perry is still coming to check on Doofenshmirtz even though he's doing good, but his good innators are still doing damage, so Perry has to do damage control. But they work it out, and best buddies, of course, the dynamic duo, iconic. We only got to see Vanessa once in the show, but they had to acknowledge her at least once, because, like, he's a good father. He'd be seeing his daughter wherever he is, okay? I was worried for a good chunk of season 2 that, like, is he just not seeing Vanessa? Where is she? Where's the queen? And I was over the moon when she finally showed up. But yeah, Dr. Doofenshmirtz, he didn't quite steal the show because they didn't use him that much. Like, he wouldn't be in a good chunk of episodes. But I really enjoyed his presence, and I think the Dr. Doofenshmirtz episodes are some of the best episodes in the show, along with the specials. There were a lot of episodes of this show that I think are just pretty forgettable. I'm not forgetting any of the Dr. Doofenshmirtz ones, not forgetting the Sarah ones. Those are your 2 characters for this show. Oh, DOG. Big 3. That's the big 3 for this show. It's kind of like just getting teased throughout that, like, yeah, when's he gonna become Dr. Time or Mr. Time? I don't remember. We don't get that, and the show got canceled, but I think they could have done a better job teasing that a little more in season 2. I also think season 2 in general, the overall storyline, they did aliens this season. It wasn't as creative as season 1. It wasn't as thoughtfully teased throughout the season as it was in season 1. It was a bit more sloppy. You could see what they were doing more. It was still entertaining though, and like the special episodes were good. I do think they dragged out a less interesting storyline for longer than they should have. It was not needing to be stretched out this whole season with what it was. Like, they did a 30-minute special where Milo got kidnapped by the aliens, and he gets brought back, and the storyline is still very much unresolved. I thought it was going to be another hour special, but it was 30 minutes. So it just felt like half the story. I feel like it was a bit more sloppy, the aliens. But the content that was there, if you just watch all the major Alien episodes in a row, like, good. It was good, but just not as good as the pistachio stuff. And they just, like, didn't acknowledge that Doofenshmirtz was gonna become Dr. Time. He felt pretty useless in season 2. I mean, the show would have gone on longer and they would have gotten to it, but I think they should have done a little bit more with it in season 2. Oh well. I'm not too sad about it because, like, whatever. Let's just get him back to Phineas and Ferb. Don't go down with the ship, Dr. Doofenshmirtz. They didn't make too many changes. I know Phineas and Ferb, when they come back, they're going to make Dr. Doofenshmirtz evil again. I'm very worried about how they'll do that because I do like seeing him show off his good side more. And that was a highlight of Milo Murphy's Law as a show. But I don't think it's too far off. I think they could definitely pull off him going back to evil and not like losing too much of the character in the process. Am I disappointed that the show didn't get a season 3? Yes. Am I gonna be campaigning for it to be brought back? No. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it's nothing to write home about. It was a fun watch. It gave me more of the Phineas and Ferb fix, but it's not Phineas and Ferb. Like, let's just get to the main attraction here. I won't even be too upset if these characters don't cameo in Phineas and Ferb, which I'm sure they will, but I wouldn't cry my eyes out if I never see these characters again. I'll be pleased if I see them though. Like, hey, welcome back. Okay, bye. Glad you had a nice visit. So the next show in Phineas and Ferb Light universe is Hamster and Gretel. I watched like over half the first season. I was watching that when it aired. It was good, but it just kind of lost my interest. They didn't bring in any Phineas and Ferb characters to make it worth my while. I'm hearing rumors that that show's getting canceled too. I don't know. If they bring Dr. Doofenshmirtz on that show, I'll tune in, but I don't think I'm gonna check that one out and review it because I've had my Phineas and Ferb light fix. Now, if I want to get more Phineas and Ferb, I think I'll just rewatch the main show again, honestly. Yeah. If I'm being real, I could probably just do that right now and I'd be just as entertained as I was watching it a few weeks ago. But yeah, I am glad that I watched this show. So I'll be back to speak about Phineas and Ferb this summer. Very excited. Until next time, bye.